Hello, it's Daryl at 10 Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. And just wanted to do a video here talking about, discuss rural areas because I know when you're doing these services, you want a place that has a certain amount of population so that you have that customer base, especially for moving or junk removal, these type of jobs. And I'm not sure, the minimum population, but I know that I've operated my services in 3 different metro areas over the years. And I've experienced the different populations. Now, when I was in the other metro areas, I mainly did moving and delivery. So I didn't do market junk removal in those. I just started marketing junk removal in the new area I'm at, which is a much smaller population, like significantly smaller. So I kind of know the difference. I know, like, for instance, when I operated my business in the Seattle metro area, I didn't have to advertise at all. I mean, once I had a few customers here and there, I got some stores that needed customer contracts. I had customers actually put me onto the Microsoft community pages. So then I had like a steady flow of Microsoft employees that I would move and help delivery or pick up deliveries. I had several stores, at least 5 or 6 different stores that would, call me for customer contracts. And so I don't think I operated that business probably for about three years, I think, in the Seattle metro. And then I moved down to the Portland metro, which is a little bit smaller. But in Seattle, there was times where I never put up ads at all. I had enough repeat. It was a huge population, so my name got around pretty fast. So I didn't have to advertise or market. I didn't have a Google on my business page. I didn't really do any kind of marketing, and it was just pretty easy to get business there. Then I went to Portland Metro, Vancouver, Washington, Portland Metro, and I was able to secure customer contracts through a chair store. I also had a consignment store, and so I was getting a lot of business just through the store, and those customers would spread my name out, and I'd get referrals and all that. So I didn't do much advertising there either, and I would bounce back and forth. So when I came out here, this is a significantly smaller population. Over there in the Seattle area is like 3 million or whatever in the metro, and then in Portland it's like, I think, 1 million or 2 million. Where here it's not even close to 1 million. It's only, the city I live in is 100,000. I mainly focus in the city I'm at. And there's a city next to here that's 200, so the whole area is like, maybe the entire county is like 400,000 or 500,000. So it's like a third, like, it's really less population. So there's a lot of rural areas around here. We're surrounded by rural. This is a Spokane metro area. We're surrounded all the way into Idaho, all these rural farmlands and all this for a long ways. So this is kind of the central hub of this whole rural community. Agricultural and that kind of thing surrounding it. So there's a ton of little dinky small towns. But the reason why I'm doing the video is because I do an app called LoadUp occasionally to get, since it's harder to get clients here. I'm doing a ton more marketing. I'm learning about marketing. I have to Google my business. I'm doing everyday Craigslist ads. I'm always pumping videos out on my Google My Business. I'm always marketing, and I've never done that before, so it's something new to me. And so you're having to market so much more here than you do in the other areas, like where I didn't have to market. So depending on the city you're in, if you're living in a big city, you may not have to market that much. That's just my experience. So here, I'm really, really marketing and also using these apps, because the apps allow me they do the marketing for me, but they also, instead of having to pay like some organization to do lead generation, they have the jobs available on their site, and they pay out pretty fair. I mean, they're for not having to market, and you get these jobs that pay out pretty good. So I like doing them. I don't do a lot of their jobs because I do it whenever I see one that I like, I'll take it. But I saw just recently a ton of jobs, and I've seen this over the time. A lot of it's in the rural areas, so they're marketing all over, not just cities. And I'm noticing a lot of work in the Montana area, and then some of the rural areas surrounding around here, because those areas don't have probably service providers like the cities have that go out that far. So why I'm doing this video is anyone who lives in a region like that. I saw a lot of work out in Montana. Now, Montana is too far from me. I mean, it's not super far, but it's because I live on the close to North Idaho, and you just drive through North Idaho. It's pretty small, and then you're in Montana. So it would take me like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to go out there, which is a little too far from my region that I'm marketing or that I go to. But I was thinking, if someone who lived in one of the smaller towns up there, I saw like 6 jobs. There's still jobs listed there, and they all pay really good. Like, they pay just as much as I would charge independently, like that good. And I'm like, wow. So if someone lived out there, and if anyone lives out there and they're on the Load Up app, they can get some really good jobs because people are willing to pay more. I'm assuming, I don't know the answer to that, but I would think they probably would be willing to pay more to get someone to do that service, because there's not a lot of service providers available. So just because you're in a rural area doesn't mean that you can't get work in junk removal or any of those services. There is you have to market a lot more up there, or you just, like I said, you use those apps, like that app that I use, Load Up, and you'll see those jobs that are out in the rural areas. And I've done jobs out here in some rural areas, fairly far out, because they people. Like, in fact, I got one tomorrow. It's going to a rural area because our Craigslist here has all the surrounding towns are marketed, are put on, or advertised. You can advertise to all the small towns around here for a long distance out, because this is the central hub. So I do jobs in the rural areas, and today I got 3. I had quite a few calls today. I secured a job, 2 jobs tomorrow, and another job I'm talking about and possibly doing. So I got 3 jobs just from today on the phone that I talked to people, and one was in the rural area and the others were in town. So anyway, that's kind of what I want to talk about, is that test your market out, even if you're out in a rural area, and if you have to find one of those apps that does the marketing for you, that could be a start. That could get you involved in getting work out there, and then seeing if it's viable. And of course, if you have a truck, that's all the requirements are, is having a truck. Then and most people out in those rural areas have trucks, so they can get some side work. Even if it's not full time, you can get some pretty good side jobs, I noticed on there. So you don't have to live in a big city, but the point of the video is, yes, the big cities, from my experience, because I've done both big city and small city, and by far a big city is very easy to get work. So much more easy than when you're in a small area like I am, compared to a big city, you really have to be top notch. The competition is fierce. It's not easy getting work in an area that's less than 1 million people. And as opposed to a city that's over 1 million. That's just, to me, it's easy. I mean, it was very easy in those bigger cities, and not that I want to go back to a big city. I really don't like living in a big city. I don't think I'll ever live in a big city, knock on wood, again, because I don't like them. But if you want to make money, you can make a lot of money. It's expensive to live there, but you can make a ton of money, and very easy, in a very quick time. I mean, I started my business, my delivery business. I had started junk removal. I started dabbling in junk removal in about 2021 or 2020, I think. Maybe the end of 2020. I started doing a little bit of jobs here and there. And then I kind of didn't start marketing it until this year. Then I actually went out and marketed junk removal maybe about 6 months ago. But all that time before, when I was in those bigger cities, I was doing pickup delivery, furniture delivery, moving, and that's it. And of course, people do ask you to do removals anyway when you're doing that kind of work. But it was just boom. As soon as I had the truck on Craigslist, the first time I had the truck, I bought my box truck, it just took off like a rocket in that area because of the massive amount of tech workers, very high income earners, disposable income type stuff. It just took off. It's a very tech area over there. And the same with Portland, even though it's not really completely tech there, there's quite a bit of money there. So that took off like a rocket too, especially during the stores. But mainly the Seattle area, it just took off so fast. Like when I was there, I had stores calling me every day. I had customers constantly. I had to turn down jobs because I didn't want to. I was trying to just keep it as a part-time type thing. I didn't want to go full blast at the time. But I got a lot of calls during that time. So there was quite a bit more work in that area. And in fact, I was offered large contracts, but at the time I didn't want to. I wasn't really planning on staying there. So I wasn't really putting my roots down. I've moved like 4 times. Let's see, I moved Seattle, Portland, back to Seattle, back to Portland. I was moving back and forth. And then finally I moved over here to Spokane 3 years ago. So I wasn't really establishing myself anywhere to do full-time, full blast business like I want to do now in here. But I was offered contracts with the stores, like full contracts with government agencies or counties. They were calling me for contracts. So I could have done a lot more if I stayed there, but like I said before, I don't want to live in a big city. I prefer living in a smaller suburb area. Of course, this city's starting to get a little more people coming out here because it's a bit cheaper. But if it does get to become a big city, I might plan on moving because I don't like. I like a little smaller areas. That's just me. Some people like big cities. I don't. I grew up in a big city. I've lived in big cities my whole life. Lived down in Los Angeles area, the Bay Area, Seattle, Portland, places like that. So that's about all I have to talk about that. It's just that my point was that you can get work in rural areas. It's just much more marketing involved, or you have to use other type of apps or things like that that does the marketing for you, because those apps can market anywhere they want. They market every single town. I mean, they just market on the internet. So and that's great too. I think it's awesome that I'm not against those apps at all. Some people they don't like those apps. I like Load Up. I think it's fine. I don't use it 100% of the time. I don't use it a lot. I use it once in a while here and there, but the times I've used it, I've had good experiences, and the people that are customer service are really good there. I haven't had any problems with them. I think what they're doing is great, because what they're doing is they're bringing these type of services anywhere because of the internet. Anyone can go on the internet and say, I want my mattress removed, and they could be out in the mountains somewhere, where in the past, because of these phones and cell towers and everything, people are everywhere communicating, whereas in the past you had to go search out, you had to look for flyers, or you had to look on the Yellow Page. We're going way back, Yellow Pages. It was a little more difficult marketing on the internet. Of course, Craigslist has always been a great place to market, but in those small towns, there's not a lot of people marketing Craigslist. They're also marketing in the city. So now people have access to these apps on their phone. They can have a refrigerator removed or whatever, and they could live like, I've been to houses out here that are in a town with like 300 people in the middle of nowhere. Just dinky little towns, and people out in the middle of the woods. They're not gonna, they get cell service now, and so they can access, and they get wireless. They can access the internet. They can, and then these companies are marketing everywhere. So, and they just subcontract people. And if someone in the town happens to have a pickup truck and gets on their app whenever he wants some extra money, boom, I'll do that job. So yeah, it's a great service, but so I'm all for it, man. I think it's technology and all that. It's a tool, and they're very fortunate they know the engineering and all that, and they can develop this app that goes across the United States. More power to them. I'm not going to knock people like that. I think that's great. I think technology adds a lot of positive things, and also there are bad things. I mean, it's good and bad to everything, but it's just a tool. So if you're in a rural area and you might want to try that app, it may help you. Or I'm sure there's also Craigslist, but you can also get some work. It's just a little bit more challenging, but it's out there. Anyway, enough talking. It's beautiful weather right now. It's still seems like 80 degrees, or probably like in the 70s out here at night or in the evening. It's been very nice weather, and the whole rest of the week's going to be hot. I got some jobs tomorrow. I got jobs lined up, so it should be a good work week. I hope everyone's getting work out there. Thanks for supporting my channel. I appreciate. Shout out to Junk Squad, Hyla State Services, Kraken, Junk Removal, and a few others maybe I haven't mentioned that I interact with on the internet. Very cool guys. Wish them much success. Have a great day, a great week. Signing out. Good Attitude Services, 10foottruck.com. Stay safe out there. Drive safe. I've noticed a lot of people out there driving fast. I'm trying to keep you got to drive, with caution these days out there. Have a great week.